What the fuck?
Hello and welcome to Taste Like Tea, a podcast in which I talk about myself. My name is Theo. Don't call me Ted. Today I am going to be talking about a movie. 4 movies, actually. I'm doing a what I watched. We're slowly pinning down how to do things around here, and I wrote down what I watched, as I mentioned in my last episode. If you haven't seen it, go listen to me talk about The Happiness of the Katakuris, because I absolutely love that film, and I took it from my what I watched I was going to talk about today. I was too excited to not talk about it, so I talked about it exclusively for like 45 minutes. But today is a different day. My ferret died yesterday, which is kind of crazy. We saw it coming, but why am I telling you about it? I don't know. It's part of my life, I guess. I don't know. Made for an interesting day, but I didn't record a podcast yesterday because of that. I guess that's where I'm getting at. Even though that doesn't matter and you don't know when I record or like anything like that, I intentionally have these scheduled out weeks in advance so that there's no way to actually precisely talk about when I've recorded these things, other than me going like, well, last week, or I think sometimes I've actually like declared what the day of the week is and like what it is. So like, not a consistent thing, but a thing nonetheless. So as per my new thing, I am sitting in my back seat. I am chilling as far out of the sun as I can be, as being outside in a car. And my pants were tight, so I unzipped them. I'm all comfy now. I don't know. Anythingbutted@gmail.com if you want to reach out to me and, tell me to stop talking about myself on a podcast about myself. You could do that. You could do whatever the fuck you want. But anythingbutted@gmail.com. You could also, I don't know. What else? I just kind of press record. I have a sticky note written out from a couple days ago of the things I wanted to cover. And as mentioned, I already talked about one that's on the list, so it's a slightly shorter list. It was going to be 5 films, now it's 4. We'll see if we can get to them all. So, reach out if you want. Questions, comments, concerns, all that jazz. We exist. I exist. I'm a person. I have opinions, and I talk about them on here. I think they're opinions. Yeah, that's the thing about me recording these things is probably it's about 10% of me going like, oh, it's good, it's bad, I like it, I don't like it. And the rest of it's me going, I don't know, this and that, and trying to describe scenes and stuff in a really inefficient way. I don't know, but outside of movies, I mean, I've been reading something that's going to be relevant to what I speak about today. I just finished up re-listening to Project Hail Mary for like the 10th time. I've been listening to it since it came out, and I have yet to see the film, so once my friends watched it, I was like, you guys gotta listen to the book. And it sparked me to go, I gotta listen to the book. Because it's good. Ray Porter is amazing. I think Andy Weir is a really great writer. I understand why Andy Weir is not someone's favorite writer. I've heard someone say that his books are chores in space, and I think that's a perfect way to describe it. But it's a perfect thing for me to do because I don't really know what because. I mean, I could assume. Oh, dropped my phone. I could only assume it has something to do with. Can I just leave my phone there? I'm trying not to hold it and like clicky clack on it and whatever, but you know, things and stuff. But Project Hail Mary is an amazing book. I did have a first printing edition of it physically, but then Christmas came and I had to give it to a friend, not because like it was like I really wanted to, and I just never bought another copy. I was like, I'll just buy another one that doesn't have a Target sticker on it, and then I never did. And now it's a movie, so it's probably worth way too much, and I don't necessarily care about having a first printing of it, I guess. I don't know. And then after I finished it, I started listening to Meg Tilly's debut novel, Singing Songs, which I'm really excited to get into. She narrates the entire thing. Her voice is amazing. You know, good experiences all around. But I guess I'm going to be talking about films today, right? As per usual, you know, if you're a fan for some reason of me talking about myself and you being there to experience those talks about myself, to myself, by myself. Yeah, so I guess I don't know. There's going to be some complaining on this episode, I think is a fair warning. Not that it matters, you know, I started off this show complaining. I talked about all the Purge films and about how little I liked them and how annoying they were. There's probably some good stuff I said in there. I know I liked Anarchy, Election Day, one of them. One of them was good, the rest of them were bad, and it was only good because it reminded me of Twisted Metal. But today I am going to be talking about, at least let's start off with the first one. I know I could easily just list off the films. I'm looking at them right now, and they're in the description. It's not like it's going to be a surprise. Anytime I do these what I watched, I do throw a spoiler warning of various degrees into the description, because even though I don't care about spoilers in that sense, I get it, kind of. I was like that. I'm still kind of like that with certain things. You know, some stuff is just better to experience blind, and other ones, a little bit of context is important. So, like, there's plenty of films I've listened to podcasts about where they just talk about, you know, things, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go see that now that I kind of get a little better glimpse of what's going on in there. And other times I'll listen to somebody and I'm like, oh, I guess I don't need to watch that. Till that's my watch list, though. It keeps fucking growing. Anyway, we're going to be talking about 2026's. Yes, this is a new film. This is very, very, very new. I believe it's on Apple TV, if I'm not mistaken, which is the only way you can get a cast like this, and Jonah Hill looking like that. I watched Outcome, starring Keanu Reeves. I really don't know what I'm going to be talking about these films, because, like I said, I'm not the most positive on it. I didn't love them. Not all. One of them I loved. Two of them I really liked. One of the ones I loved is one of the two that I really liked. So I watched Outcome, starring Keanu Reeves, and you know, it's bad. It's a bad movie. You know, I try to avoid, like, generalizing good and bad, because obviously opinions can be subjective, but this is just, it's just not that, it's not great, it's not funny. Some people, I read through some of the 5-star reviews on it just to, like, see what people thought of it, and one of them has me kind of questioning if my opinion is valid or not, and that's this person saying something along the lines of this film is like No Bullshit, the movie, and it's about, like, taking away that veneer of fakeness that the public eye sees you in or whatever. But you can draw that line. I see it. I see the line there, but I don't agree. Because there was no realness to begin with. I mean, so Keanu Reeves is playing BoJack Horseman, right? He's playing a Bob Saget-like. He is an actor who is very well regarded in the public eye, but privately he's a piece of shit. And he has a couple of close people who tell him that he's not a piece of shit, but everyone in his past who has known him personally thinks he's a piece of shit. It's a lot of like questioning genuinity and like, I mean, it's a guy realizing that his life affected people in a negative way, no matter how much the general public praises him for it. So like, he grew up a child actor, Keanu Reeves. I think his name was Reef. I remember it sounding a lot like Reef. It's probably Reef. And my partner was like, "Oh yeah. Is this just about Keanu Reeves? Like they just called him Reeves?" I'm like, no. But clearly, it's a strong parallel. It's directed by Jonah Hill, which I think is a big sign of like maybe we shouldn't be watching this. But my partner was watching with me, and even if it was bad, which it is, and they also thought so, which is cool. At least it had a bunch of cast members that they like. That seems to be a bigger selling point than if the movie is good or not, is if it's people worth looking at. I think. I don't know. They don't even really like Keanu Reeves that much, so maybe that's not even true. But there was a lot. It was just a bunch of cameos. Every character was like a person that exists. So you can go like, hey, isn't that guy? And, it's fine. It's fine to throw a bunch of famous people into a movie and, try and sell tickets. Because, I mean, it came out on streaming, but that's what happened with a few films I've watched recently from the library, is I'm kind of just going through the shelves and going, is that Billy Crystal? And I just rent it out because I know my partner likes Billy Crystal. And Julia Roberts or whatever. America's Sweetheart is also a bad movie, by the way. John Cusack. I try not to have negative opinions about John Cusack because I kind of call him like I refer to him as kind of like an everyman's Nicolas Cage. He's got one of those faces that kind of makes you go like, he kind of looks like, and then you can name like 7 or 8 different dudes that look vastly different. But Outcome is about, it's about BoJack Horseman. Right. Here's the other thing. Again, BoJack Horseman. He is a recovering addict. So, his sobriety, he's finally like on a streak with his sobriety. And, I guess part of his recovery is trying to like, talk to the people of your past. And he's like, wait, what do you mean people don't like me that knew me in the past? And he's just like completely oblivious to the fact that not even specifically as a drug addict, but as just a famous actor, he was just a piece of shit to people. He didn't treat people well, and the only thing he did was make his life a good experience. Ooh, can I put this here maybe? Probably not. God, I'm trying not to say hate, I know, but I fucking hate. No, I don't even know what I hate, because it's just a lot of sensory input that pisses me the fuck off. Had people at work just like, I hate, oh my god. So tired of never mind. So Outcome is a film about Keanu Reeves playing a douchebag. I think one of the top reviews was like, is Jonah Hill trying to sabotage Keanu Reeves' career? And that's kind of, I don't know what he's been doing the last few years, Keanu Reeves, other than some John Wick stuff, and I think he was in some video games recently, other than Cyberpunk. I think he made his face in something. But, yeah, this film just did not do Keanu Reeves very good. I've never heard him. It kind of sounds like he's just speaking his normal human voice. It doesn't sound like he's acting really. But to be honest, I don't even really know what he sounds like when he's not acting. I've heard him speak on a stage before, where that doesn't mean he wasn't acting. But the way he talks is just so unlike how I've ever heard him speak before in a movie. And it made me question kind of what I know about him. Kind of like growing up watching Johnny Depp movies and not really knowing exactly what he looks like. And then you see Public Enemies and you realize that's what he looks like. That's his face. Oh no. I sit out here in 70-degree weather, usually hotter, especially with the sun out. And I have to put these windows down and deal with sound input, and there's also fucking bugs that like to fly through the window. More complaining, right? Honestly, that might just be what today is all about, because I've been cursing in my head all day. I've been saying fuck this, fuck that, and I'm really trying not to, but I'm not in the mood to deal with inconveniences as much as I have been, even though those inconveniences are regularly scheduled and arguably avoidable. But I'm too stubborn I'm too stubborn to be the one to avoid it. I'd rather call it shitty and hope that maybe I can find a way to confront it in some way. Because I don't want my lunch to be fucking cut off because some assholes have to occupy the break room. Nice. Anyway, outcome is I'm trying to think of events, and that's really the thing, is it's not really anything. I actually only really watched it because I saw Drew Barrymore was credited in it, and I kind of wanted to keep her up on my most watch list for this part of the year. But then she ended up only being in it for 2 minutes, so I got my little number checked off, but I definitely didn't get as much Drew Barrymore as I wanted. So, what is the film actually about? I'm saying the main character is BoJack Horseman, right? Except BoJack Horseman is not. BoJack Horseman is retired. This guy, I believe, is not. He's still very much in the public eye. He very much is doing interviews, and he exists, and he's obsessed with making sure that he looks okay in the public eye. So much so that he's just constantly Googling himself, which, if you know anything about Google, you shouldn't. You're not going to really get any real results the way he was Googling things. He wasn't doing anything. To see people not be good at Google is really frustrating sometimes. And I try not to be a dick about it because, not everybody can learn everything the same way. But the way some people Google things, no wonder you're not finding the right answers, or no wonder you're thinking you're finding the right answers because you're asking Google leading questions. Keywords, and, actually that's it, keywords. You don't need punctuation. You don't need... Not that Keanu Reeves did punctuation. I'm just kind of projecting my complaints. But what is the film about? The film is about Keanu Reeves being worried that he is losing popularity in the public eye. And Jonah Hill, as his manager, comes up with every immoral way to boost his popularity. And Keanu Reeves, being a recovered addict that claims to just try to be as real as possible, is getting frustrated because he's just trying to have conversations with people, but everybody he talks to is obsessed with making it about a performance, about making it not just about them, but content for someone else. There's a scene, it's probably the best scene in the film, where Keanu Reeves goes and confronts his mother, because he was a child actor, his character's a child actor. So he grew up as an underage child in Hollywood. And he goes to his mom, who is like a famous person as well, and is like recording the conversation for some reason. She has like some sort of interview show, and for some reason she wants to put her conversation with her son on it, which is, part of the film. It's her being one of the people who's just wanting to be performative and be content for others rather than be a person yourself and like existing. So he's talking to his mother, and I don't know how he gets to this point. And actually I do. I know how he gets to it, but I don't know how I could internally justify it. Like if I was in that exact situation. So he basically is like, he's like, why would you do that to me? Why would you put me as being an actor? Hold on. I'm just realizing that there's a plot point I missed. He's questioning his view in the public eye because someone on Omegle screen recorded a conversation he had with them, and it like sparked controversy because he was like being non-performative and just trying to talk to somebody like a human being, but because he's a famous person, someone clipped him and put it on the internet anyway. But he talks to his mom about like, why would you put me through that? And she's like, because you wanted to. Like, you asked me and you begged me to become an actor, so I left my husband, I left our home, and I moved us out to LA to be poor, and so that you can act. And he says something along the lines of like, kids don't know what they want. You can't just haphazardly listen to kids and try and fulfill those dreams. Like, you have to have like human boundaries, because now I'm an adult with regrets because I didn't have the right guidance as a child, and now I'm an adult, and like he's not actually like reflecting on his position as a famous person as much as he's just upset that his mother allowed him to be exposed to such a life, and now that he's grown up in it and he's in his 50s or whatever, he can like acknowledge that the things that he experienced as a kid and growing up were very immoral and not something a kid should be exposed to, which goes back to something I think I haven't even said on this podcast yet. I am a huge advocate for not allowing children in films. If you require a child in a film, I think it should be an old person. Because one, old people are not children. They're mentally capable of understanding what they're doing. And two, they're not doing anything anyway. Like, just cast an elderly old man named Eunice as a fucking child. Like, who cares? In fact, it would make it better. The Martin Short's film Clifford proves that adults playing children can be better sometimes than children. I shouldn't even say sometimes, guaranteed, because that was amazing. And then to find out, anyway, we're not talking about Clifford. But he has this heavy conversation with his mom, and it's basically just coming around to like, why would you listen to a child? Like, why wouldn't you make your own decisions of how to raise your child? And it gets to a point where she like, the interview gets cut off because Keanu gets pissed at her. She asks to re-record a reaction shot because even though she's having this quote-unquote heavy real conversation with her son, she's in front of a camera and all she's considering is how she's going to be seen. So mid-conversation, she cuts off Keanu and goes, can we do that again? But this time I'm reacting differently. And he's like, are you fucking serious right now? Like, we're trying to have a heavy, real conversation here, and you're caring about your reaction shot. And she's like, oh, you were fine, honey. Like, it's just a really, it's a good example of maybe like a form of nepotism, in a sense. I don't know if that's true, because I want to say the mom got famous after the child did, but maybe there's still a take on it there with like how do you grow up as a child of famous actors? Like, how do you know when you're being real with them or not? That could go for anybody, but actors definitely. Or anybody that's in Hollywood. I guess that's a whole world. And I think that's what Jonah Hill was trying to comment on with making this film about, is like the show business is show business. And it never stops. If you're not willing to 100% commit to the bit, you're not going to be in show business, or you're not going to be looked at well in show business. Look at that clip I saw recently of Harrison Ford walking through the streets, ignoring somebody that was recording him on his phone, asking for an autograph. People in the comments were like, what a dickhead, what a fuck ass, and meanwhile he's probably just a dude existing, but because he didn't keep up his persona. And there's people in the comments of that saying, like, I don't know why I'm getting into this, but they'll say something like, it's his job, to be a part of the people. And, and then other people are like, he shouldn't have to put on a performance for everybody at all times, which is the real human way to, respond to something. But some people think it's like a famous person's responsibility to always be famous all the time. And it's their own fault for being famous. And they have no right to get annoyed by fans coming up to them and asking them for stuff. I can't give you a username or an exact post, but I've seen it. I've seen it all the time. Not all the time. I stopped scrolling on Instagram for stuff like that. Now I'm on Russian Instagram, and it's fucking awesome. Want to know why? Because no one's harassing Harrison Ford or talking, like, trying to use grape instead of rape because they're too afraid of the algorithm on Russian feeds. They're blowing shit up. They're setting each other on fire. They're doing weird cooking compilations. Like, Russia's where it's at, dude. If you want to see a good side of the internet, get out of the American feeds. Because even like Germany and like everyone over there is just so much more fun. Everyone over here is just, I shouldn't say everyone, but I'm not going to get into it. I'm talking about a film directed by Jonah Hill. I don't think I should be getting too heavy into socioeconomics. Is that what that would be? I don't know. I don't know words. I like using the word socioeconomical. Like when someone posts an AMA on Reddit, and I don't know who the fuck they are, I'll be like, what is your opinion on the current socioeconomic state of America right now? I don't really know what it means to say that, but it's funny to ask people, I'll tell you. I'm talking for 28 minutes. I'm only on the first film, but it's alright. 2 of them I'm probably not going to talk about for too much, but there's also these scenes, most of the film, when it's not Keanu walking around town or sitting in his house being like, am I mean to people? And like talking to people, they're like, no, honey, you're not mean to people. You're just a guy. You just exist. You're you. And, he by the end, he realizes that the people that have been around him are enablers. And they only enable because they're afraid of what the repercussions of not enabling is, which is just a whole other take on, like, the power of a relationship between a famous person and the entourage, and the whole existence of an entourage in general. But most of the film takes place in a conference room with Jonah Hill and a bunch of people from various films and shows. The trans woman from Orange is the New Black is in it, and they make cum jokes. Really, the worst parts of the film happen in this conference room, but so much of the film also happens in the conference room. that they, to make jokes, I guess, they have pictures of like notoriously horrible people on the wall. So like at the entrance, there's just a headshot of Kevin Spacey, and there was a few other horrible people, but the most notable one is I almost said Keanu Reeves. The most notable of the shitty people plastered on the walls is Kanye West. And I am a huge anti-Kanye West person, other than the Ascending video game based off of Kanye West. I have no interest in him whatsoever. Even Gold Digger was kind of a non-hit for me in middle school. But they're going down the list of like, how do we save your career now that this person posted a video of you on the internet that you didn't like agree to, and they're just pitching like the dumbest shit ever. And one of them, I mean, Jonah Hill, I'm this is probably shitty in itself. I'm assuming Jonah Hill is Jewish. There's a lot of assumptions, of a lot of shitty things going on in that assumption, and I apologize if he's not. But if he isn't, then that's just even more reason not to make the joke. But they're talking like, well, what if they're saying like, what if you say this and that, and someone says no, because then you're gonna come off like you hate Jews. And then someone said like, yeah, hating Jews is bad, but sometimes or hating Jews doesn't go well with people, except when it does. And it cuts over to all of them just look at a picture, the picture of Kanye West, and it's just like the saddest moment of like, hey, remember when he crashed out on Twitter and he was like trending again for some reason and became a Nazi, and everyone laughed because he's black, and for some reason that allows Nazism to not be anyway. Yeah, it's very distasteful. That joke alone is what really sparked me to go like, okay, there's not even any worth trying in this film. Because I went in knowing people didn't like it. I saw Jonah Hill directed it, and I'm like, that's weird. And I saw Keanu Reeves in it, I'm like, that's weirder. And then I'm like, Drew Barrymore? Hell yeah, I'll watch it. And then all the reviews are super mediocre, but I'm like, I'll watch it anyway. I like Keanu Reeves, Can't be that bad. But the Kanye joke really just like was the final nail in the coffin, because it'd be different if it was like, no, it wouldn't be. I don't think there's really any way you could make that joke and it land and not sound or look or be shitty instead of just being funny. It's almost like Jonah Hill's comedy has never left Superbad, but it's just kind of stayed with the times. It's like if Jonah Hill's character from Superbad just persisted as like a vampire throughout time and just ended up making 2020 relevant jokes, post-COVID jokes, with pre-Obama energy. Really specific words I just used there, not by accident, but so yeah, Outcome is not a good film. I thought I was hesitant on talking about it just because, like, why would I talk about something I don't like? But I also am tired of constantly coming on this show and just being like, oh my god, dude, you have to check this fucking movie out, or just as I keep going back to, because it still makes me laugh, spending 20 minutes talking about Cars. So yeah, Outcome is not a good film. It's watchable in the least kind of sense. Like, I would watch it. No, I wouldn't. I was about to say I'd watch it over The New Faces of Death, but I'd actually watch The New Faces of Death more, because at least that has good stuff. It doesn't have a single good thing and then it's surrounded by trash. It's at least has some good stuff in there, even if most of it's bad. Next, I was going to talk about The Happiness of the Katakuris, but please refer back to my previous episode, because as I said, it's so good that I needed to have its own episode. I needed to go off on it for 40 minutes, and that seems to be what I'm doing anyway. I went off on Outcome for 40 minutes. So going on, I'm going in order from what I watched, but this isn't like consecutive. This is skipping through the week. But after I watch Outcome, I watch Happiness and Katakuri, and then a few days later, I think it was actually like the Saturday. Like there was a big time jump between what I'm talking about, but I woke up and I was scrolling on Instagram, and I don't like to scroll. That's been a thing I'm trying to get away from. But when I'm like first thing in the morning, I like to check my Letterboxd notifications. I like to go on Instagram, and I don't even like to check anything on Instagram except maybe my story, because I post a lot of my reviews on my story, and I feel a little bit accomplished when I see people click through it, even if I know that 90% of them aren't actually reading it, because who would read all of my long-winded reviews? If you do, I appreciate it, because genuinely, like, I love writing them. Some of them aren't good, some of them are not clever and unoriginal and just kind of praising and dick sucking and whatever, but sometimes I get a good order of words in there, and I love it so much that, like, just like Happiness the Katakuri is what I say on that episode, is like, it's so good I just can't keep it to myself. And according to my doctor, that's my ADD talking. That's not me showing off, so take that as you will. So I was scrolling through Instagram, and I came across a thing. It was like, I don't even know what the fuck it was titled, but it had something to do with, it was a short film. And I already watched Dead Grandma 2026 on Instagram, and I hated it with a passion. I didn't want to watch it vertically, and I didn't want to watch it with the stupid banner that goes, craziest short film of the year, mind blown emoji. Like, fuck off, dude. You're reposting someone's repost with a film you didn't even make. And genuinely, it affected my score of it, because I rate mostly about the experience, and I even if I talk about how great the film is, it's my experience that my positive reviews reflect on. That's why I don't know. I was about to point out something I like that I shouldn't, but I don't know. I like stuff, and the only person who tells me I shouldn't is my partner, because they have an outspoken opinion on things. So. Yeah, so I found a short, and it took me a lot of clicking around, because it turns out that the title that they gave on Instagram was an English translation of a Spanish title, which is a Spanish re-term for a French term. So, like, it was all over the place. It took me a little bit to find. I wrote it down as the English title because that's what it is on Letterboxd. On Letterboxd, it's called On Points. I'm pretty sure in the original title it's En Pont. But I've never taken Spanish or French, so I don't know. I'm just assuming. But I watched On Points. It's a short film. It's about 4 minutes long. If you really want to watch it, because I happen to follow someone that supplied a Vimeo link, but I didn't actually post the Vimeo link on my account. So genuinely, like, if you want to watch this film, it's 4 minutes long, and I'll send it to you. I'll post it in the comments if someone finds my review of it. I link my Letterboxd in every post, so you can just go in there, click on it, and scroll down, or follow me and then search up the movie, and you can find it that way too. There's ways, I didn't put it on any lists because it was fine. I want to use lists more, but I don't use them the way I want to. But I watched this. The film is called On Points, En Pont. And I mean, anybody who's heard the term knows that it's like a ballerina film, right? I don't know if it's real or not. That's really where a lot of the unsettlingness comes in for this film, is I don't know if it's real. So this woman dressed in like her ballerina outfit, she's putting on her shoes, her ponts or whatever. I still don't know how to pronounce them. I'm sorry. Putting on her ballet shoes, and she's putting them on, but then it's something weird about them. They're a little bit shaped. They're shaped a little differently than your traditional ballet shoe, and it's because she has massive fucking knives attached to the tips of them. So it's just 4 minutes of this woman strapping on these bladed shoes and doing, admittedly, I wouldn't say basic. I'm not going to say basic, but what's ballet? I was going to say, what is the act that a ballerina does? It's ballet. She's doing ballet. I would say maybe it's basic, but I mean, I've never taken ballet. I don't know nothing about it. She's on top of a piano, which is like a hollow hardwood, so it already has a very unique sound to it. She's sitting there. There is music, and I'm pretty sure it is the piano. I wasn't focused on the music though, because the whole time, once she stands up, she's up, right? She's on points. She's wearing shoes with and I may not be describing the knives well enough. They're not like cleavers, but imagine like a cleaver from a movie if it was shaped like a chef's knife. I have them at home. Maybe they're like 10-inch blades. They're large fucking knives, dude. And they're pointed in a really specific way where, like if you were to wear them with your feet flat on the ground, the blades would be sticking out of your toe, like from your toe out, and the blades facing up. And that's how they're attached to her shoes. So once she's up, she's on those blades, and it's unsettling. Because, like, I mean, yeah, it's just her dancing. It's a lot of quick cuts, so it's probably not even the same take. It's probably just a bunch of smaller takes, or maybe just like her doing a small routine just cut together to look a lot more grandiose than it is. But I wasn't really listening to the music because the whole time, as I said, the piano is a hard, hollow wood. And this woman is jamming her fucking blade toes into this thing, scratching it up and doing ballerina stuff. And it's a really beautiful visual. Like, it's just her on a stage in an empty auditorium, standing on top of a grand piano. And she's just sitting there, the spotlight is on her, and she's just doing little twirls and, ballet moves. And she does like these cool kicks, and when she kicks, she like digs the blade into the wood more. And it's just a really violent, like, it's something you would expect out of like a Saw trap. Like if there was a ballerina that got jigsawed, and they're like, you gotta dance your way across the room of your loved ones to reach your desire or whatever, Yeah, and it gets chaotic, and it shows her face a lot, and there's a lot of pain. And I think that's the point of the film, is there's a lot of pain in ballet. And you expect her to just be up there like overexerting herself, because that's kind of like the High School Musical way of showing that someone is too into the thing, and they're gonna hurt themselves because they're too into it. So it shows her like hyperventilating and breathing, and I mean that's what that is. But like it's cutting from her feet, cutting like just gashes into this piano up to her horrified looking face, and it's effective. It's really good. I really liked it. It's it's not a Gunhilda, you know. It's not something where I can build a whole mythology out of. But it was a really great film, and like I said, reach out and I will link it for you. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'll move on from that. Like I said, I didn't really have a lot to say about On Points because it's not a long film that a lot happens in, but it was so good that I felt necessary to share. So moving on, almost immediately after that, my partner and I watched Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. And here's another film I did not like. I'll just get that out of the way now. It's not as bad as Outcome. You know, don't get me wrong. Outcome is the worst film I've seen this year. Without a doubt. Like, I had a friend say that Faces of Death was their least favorite film they've watched this year. Outcome is mine, and I've watched Faces of Death. So, you know. Ready or Not 2 was not good, though. I didn't like it. It basically just like nullifies everything I really liked about the first one. There's a finality to the first one that I really enjoyed, like just a one-off. Like, yeah, this is a like the film Would You Rather. It's taking a child's game, a child's game of Would You Rather, and turning it into a game of death. This is the exact same thing of we're turning hide and seek into a game of death. Because Satan, and she wins at the end of the first one, right? Like, that's the whole thing, is she wins, she smokes a cigarette, and then she says in-laws, and the movie's over, and it's bad fucking ass, right? Because she's a cool protagonist that just lived like a really unexpected wild night, all in a fucking wedding dress that she just got married in. Like, the first one's awesome. And, you know, I like the directors for the most part. I listened to a commentary from them the last time, like, before I watched Ready or Not, the one for the second time, because they were fun to listen to, and it was fun to hear them make the movie, but the sequel just ruins it all. And really, it's that lack of finality, right? Because I liked the fact that she won and the family exploded. You know, like, she won. End of story, right? Her life may not be over, but the story is. I wrote that in my review too, because I truly believe that. And then this film picks up from that scene of her going in-laws. Actually, no, it doesn't even pick up. It starts it over. The first 20, maybe not 20, the first few minutes of this film is just in case you didn't watch the first one, here's what happened previously on Dragon's Ball Pay. Like, it's a really, like, you know, there's a reason I don't like Friday the 13th Part 1, and it's because Part 2 is better, and it also summarizes the first one without having to go through the entire 80 minutes or whatever. This film is the complete opposite, because although it does nullify the first one, it does it for the worse of the film, because the first one is good. And because of the second one, it's just kind of, and you know, right when the shit kicks off, because, like, the whole thing is the film starts right as the first film ends, and she's like on the verge of getting arrested. She's in a hospital. Her sister shows up, which is the next new main character. It's part of the group. And she's like, yeah, you're totally getting arrested. And then more people start attacking her, like, right off the rip. And one of the first lines I caught in the film is this guy going, "Fuck the rules," which is, you know, that's what the film is saying, right? It's saying everything that I don't like about it. They don't care. That's fine, I guess, you know. But it just felt like I was watching Scream 5 again. I didn't even watch Scream 6 or 7 because 5 killed it. And then it turns out they're the same director, so clearly they don't do sequels well. They don't know how to do sequels. But yeah, the guy says fuck the rules, and that's the philosophy of the film, and that's why I don't like it. Because I don't mind that a film breaks the rules. I mean, that's literally what Saw 4, 5, and 6 are about. Like bending the rules to make things better. But it didn't work. It's just a really bad sequel. And I'm not even getting into the events of it yet. So what is the plot of Ready or Not 2, Here I Come? Turns out the family you married into that hails to Satan and tries to kill you if you get married to people, they're only one of 6 families. Yeah, that's right. It's a whole society. Yeah, the history of the world is run by these few rich families. Whoop-de-doo, classic little Malcolm McDowell in 31 as a reference nobody's gonna want to hear. It's Squid Games, the thing there's only a certain amount of money in the world, and most of it's in one place, and those people are the ones that are hunting people for fun because they can afford to. And they bring her to, instead of a mansion, it's an entire what the fuck would that be, a resort? There's a pool area, and there's a tennis court and big hotel rooms and stuff like that. It's a resort, and they show the scene of them clearing the people out of the resort by shooting it up, which was kind of distasteful. Plus, I don't know. There was something about the reaction to the people in that scene that made me not like it. And then the families show up, and they suck, and not in a villains should suck, or horror movie characters aren't really very deep. It's just they were supposed to be funny caricatures of different types of rich people, but I feel like it was more racist than it was anything, because every Japanese businesswoman in TV dresses, speaks, talks, and acts like that. Every Middle Eastern rich family that has American children, dresses, talk. It's very just caricaturizing very hyper specific rich people in ways that are just not entertaining. The one of the funniest points is when one of the Indian brothers dies, and the other brother's all right, guess they're all right, you're up, you gotta fight the other brother, you can't just not participate. And he goes, I don't wanna. And he signs his soul away to force his wife to do it. And then the wife just fucks him over and leaves. Which was good. That was good. Although the scene itself kind of contradicts itself, because Elijah Wood's in this, by the way. Elijah Wood is you have to participate, or else you will be disqualified, or something along those lines. And then a few minutes later, when the wife is deemed the leader of the family, she leaves, and he goes, she chose not to participate, and she's allowed to do that as the head of the family. What? So, and I think the only reason they did that is so that she didn't blow up, because she was just a victim. All the women in this film are victims for the most part. Sarah Michelle Gellar is there, and she's an incest twin or something, and she sucked. It felt like I almost want to compare it directly to I Know What You Did Last Summer, but I Know What You Did Last Summer is actually kind of good. So, what else? I mean, there's the sister, right? There's Faith and Grace. Those are the two sisters' names, and one of the families makes fun of her, like, oh, you fucking Irish Catholic fucks and your stupid fucking religious fucking names and, stupid shit. And I don't remember who the sister was. I'm intentionally not opening Letterboxd. I'm just talking into a locked phone. Normally I have Letterboxd open, but you're just gonna have to deal with it. The sister who is the girl from The Babysitter. She's definitely in other things, but I don't really care. I think she was good in one other thing. But it wasn't this. It wasn't this film. It probably isn't her fault, it's probably the writers, because they it's bad. The whole reason she's there is to be complained about, and then doesn't do I don't know. She's literally an anchor, but then she's also not at the same time, because she's her own person and she has individuality or whatever. And it's just like, why would you leave me behind when you were 18 and I was 15? And she's like, because you were 15 years old and I wasn't going to make you live in a fucking grimy apartment in the middle of New York City. It's just quarreling. A lot of resentments through childhood, things that are more or less just like one-sided resentments, because one person has a genuine reasoning for doing something, and then the other person assumes it's because it's done for the worst rather than because it would help the other person. And it's just a lot of resentments. And they probably resolved their relationship by the end, but I didn't really care. They were handcuffed together in the beginning, and that was like part of the game, and then they got unhandcuffed after they killed the dude. Some of the kills were clever. They drown a dude in a washing machine, like an industrial washing machine, and I think that's amazing. The ending was fun, I guess. Spoiler alert, she wins, and the thing that everybody's fighting over, she's like, oh, this little thing, and throws it into like a death pit, and everybody explodes. I don't know, man. It's not a bad film. I didn't like it. That's really what it comes down to. I see the appeal, just like I see the appeal of like the newer Scream sequels. I am just part of that community that doesn't find any interest in it, and it's. I literally put in my review for Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, like scary movies coming back for a reason. Right? And they're doing Scream again for a reason. It's because Scream is, there's something about the corporate horror. I don't even know. Because it's not just horror. It's not just, I guess it's all corporate no matter what. The shit that I would be complaining about is almost always corporate related. But not how the hell. Just I don't know. It's Scary Movie exists. The first Scary Movie exists because Scream, and I don't fully agree with this, but people say Scream ruined horror. I don't agree with that. I like the original 4 Screams. Wes Craven is amazing. But they were right, everybody saw Scream and went, we can do this, and everybody copy pasted the formula, because they had a film that explained the formula, so they had a formula to work off of, and then a bunch of horror movies did that. Not all, there are good horror movies in the 90s, but Scream is claimed to have ruined horror, and Scary Movie was a response to that. Specifically, I think I saw an interview saying one of the Wayans brothers, I think it was Marlon Wayans, he said it was a good movie, Scream, but then all the copycats started coming out, and They said their last straw was I Know What You Did Last Summer. And they're like, all right, we're fucking making this parody then. And they made it, and it was good. And it didn't really fix anything. If anything, it instead of it fixing horror, it kind of ruined comedy in a weird sense. In the same sense that Scream ruined horror, I guess. Because then everybody thought, like, oh my god, you can just make references to things. You don't have to hide that you're copying stuff. You can just make references. And then, I like a lot of the movies. You know, I'm a big fan of the superhero movie. I think epic movie is decent. Disaster movie is fun. I didn't really like the Superfast one, but that was post all of those guys. That's like 2017. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't good. Mostly because I probably didn't get most of the references. But, and like I said, Scary Movie 2 is just bad. I've said it in the past. Scary Movie 2 is a bad film. Scary Movie's back for a reason, and they're doing Scream for a reason. It's because things are getting bad again. And I'm not even very excited for Scary Movie. The only reason I'm excited for Scary Movie is because I know it's a response to horror over the last 10 years. And I also have some quarrels with horror over the last 10 years. Basically since, not The Witch. I didn't really pay attention to The Witch. I didn't watch that until, like, way after it came out. But maybe, like, Hereditary times, like, around there. Like, what was that, 2017? So, yeah, like, the last 10 years. The last 10 years of horror has just been a weird state where, streaming has a lot to do with it. Netflix... I think Hill House has a lot to do with it. All that stuff. And, I'm not... Like, when someone told me, they're like, oh my god, they got, like, the entire cast back for the Scary Movie remake. And I'm like, I really don't care. As long as you have Anna Faris, the woman who plays... Oh my god, what's her name? Brenda? Yeah, the woman who plays Brenda. And, I guess the Wayans brothers. They're fun. Like, I like the jokes about Ray being gay. They're kind of fun. Where he's like, does this make me look gay? And he goes, nah, man, nah. And he goes, well, how about this? And he... like, he's the gay... he's good. Ray is a good character. Probably one of the most tasteful, horrible stereotypes that seeped out of... early 2000s, late 90s comedy. Because at least it was kind of self-aware. It wasn't like a gay guy pretending not to be gay. It was a gay guy who does gay things, and the only thing that makes him not gay is saying that he's not gay, but he's like, yeah, man, I like when my girlfriend dresses up as a football player and spanks me. It's a thing that that should be discussed more with people. Not Ray specifically, but maybe just that mentality. But yeah, that's really what I'm getting at. Is I definitely got off the rails with that. I complained and then got into Scream and complained about that. But Ready or Not 2 it evokes those same complaints of just like, we didn't have to do this. And I didn't have to watch it, sure, but also I shouldn't have to think that when I watch something, right? I should be able to watch something and go like, okay, that was an experience. With this, it's not even like I'd say I wasted my time, because there is joy to be gotten out of it, but it's not... It's that whole, like, keep an idea, and, no need to flush a sequel in, because now there's going to be a Ready or Not 3, probably. Or maybe they're gonna go through a bunch more children's games, and they'll come up with a prequel where, like, oh yeah, the last time was Ring Around the Rosie, or Musical Chairs, or something like that. But don't make it this, like, that's honestly fine. Do that. But don't make a sequel about a character that's done. Like, yeah, you had that extra thing of like she had a sister, she was a foster kid. There is stuff to explore, but not enough to make an entire movie. Just take the childhood game thing, change the game, or keep the game, make it hide and seek constantly, and just change the cast. Make it about somebody else. I still wouldn't love it to be called Ready or Not 2. Honestly, I'd prefer Ready or Not 2 Here I Come to just be a new cast, like an American Horror Story. Just like do it again, just start over, different people. I guess American Horror Story is the opposite of that. That start over with the same people, but same difference. Christ. Yeah, it's fine, you know. It's a fine film that exists. I see the things people like in it. I see the things I absolutely hate in it. And I see the things people like that I absolutely hate in it. And, you know, maybe just a lot like Faces of Death, you know. I'm not the target audience anymore. I'm a 30-year-old white dude that sits in the backseat of a car in a parking lot after work to talk about movies I've watched. I mean, maybe the talk about movies I watch thing is part of the demographic, but I am not the age group that's being sold things anymore. I am not the parents of kids that want to see things about, I don't want to say young people, because it's not really about young people, but I just, you know, there's something about modern films that, like, I mean, there's something for everybody. I do like to scroll through films I don't like and see 5-star ratings because, like, you know, not really a prove me wrong kind of thing, but kind of just, I need to see. I need to know. Like, my whole perspective exists because I think and see and, like, and I explain as much as I can in reviews. I'll usually get sidetracked and forget a lot of it, but, like, I try and explain myself because that's what I feel, you know, and that's why I like Letterboxd too, because it's not just like, you're not seeing just the most liked. I mean, you could filter on like IMDb and whatever, but there's just something about the way I can see how people react to it, and, like, not always, but you can kind of intuit, like, certain people's age groups depending on, like, their profiles and stuff. I mean, some people actually post their age, which is weird. Usually if there's a 4 number at the end of a 2 or a 4 number at the end of their username, that's usually the year they were born. That's a really good way to call people out on Xbox. I've made very, very many children uncomfortable by calling out that they're too young to play the video game that they're playing, because I knew what year they were born. Oh, shit. Yeah, so, like, I see what people like about the film. I just, you know, and I think I feel like maybe I've over-explained a little bit, but it's the screamisms is kind of what I wrote in my review, is like everything I'm talking about, these forced sequels with bad motivations and uninspired characters, and, like, all just like excuses to do gore, but in a really unsatisfying way, because at least, like, gore films actually try. They don't just, like, have someone flick their head back and, like, a CGI blood spatter shoots out. And I don't know what the 2 newest Screams are like, but they are rated R, right? Like, there's no PG-13 horror movies anymore, and if they are, they're usually kind of low budgety. I think the last PG-13 horror I remember watching that was PG-13 was Tarot, which is a horror movie about tarot cards, which, you know, that kind of screams PG-13 to begin with. Yeah, so maybe the new Screams are exactly the same, and it's just a thing people like, and I just am one of the people that don't like it. And it's fine. I have 100 years of cinema to catch up on anyway, so. No skin off my back, except for that 100 minutes. Anythingbutted@gmail.com if you want to reach out. I am a person who exists. I have an opinion, and I have an email to which you can contact me if you cared for, questions, comments, and concerns. I've been listening to a podcast that has Sick on Cinema. I might as well shout him out. I'm really into him right now. I'm trying to catch up on them, but they have fucking 10 years of content I need to get through, and I'm too damn stubborn to just skip to the newest episode to see what they responded to my thing. So I keep responding to their episodes from 5 years ago, and being excited for when I get to the episodes that they answer those questions on, because at least as of right now in the series of episodes I am listening to with them, they answer every question, no matter how repetitive, no matter how many are in a single comment or whatever. They're very generous. So sorry to I don't even know. I'm not sorry. It's a good show. And they don't necessarily no, they never mind. I'm not going to get into it. They're a good podcast. I'm a good podcast. And you can tell me if I'm right or not at anythingbutted@gmail.com. I was going to talk about a fourth film, but it is a little late, and I actually want to save that fourth film anyway for a future episode when I finish reading the thing it was adapted from. So that's going to be it for today. You have been listening to Taste Like Tea, a podcast about me. He am I am me am tea. Goodbye.